Hello, I'm Rick Hertless, founder of His Gospel Power. Thank you for joining with our program as we look into the book of 2 Thessalonians, and we are in chapter 2, verse 11 today. Before we get into that, please go to hisgospelpower.org, click on the donate button or the contact us button. Thank you so much to all who do donate to our program and offer your prayer support to us. We are so appreciative of all of those who support our program and our ministry. This is a ministry that goes around the world to at least 50 countries, and so that's all our analytics will tell us how far it goes. And so, of course, if you know anything about analytics, as the listenership diminishes, those go at the bottom. So it may be many more than that, but I do know at least 50 countries hear this program around the world. So please, if you are not giving to the program, we would appreciate it. If you're not praying for our program, we would appreciate that as well. Please click on the contact button on hisgospelpower.org and send us a line, drop us a line. Or if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, that go ahead and put a comment on that as well. So we appreciate you listening, and thank you so much for all that you do. We are in the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 11, and we were talking yesterday about signs and wonders and about the fact that Satan will bring signs and wonders. He says, with all power, signs and lying wonders. So there will be lies. There will be a deception, and we're seeing much of that deception today. So we're seeing all of those things happen. And then we kind of discussed this earlier in the week, but I want to get to this on verse 11 again. And it says, for this reason, God will send them a strong delusion that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who do not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Those who are following Satan, those who are believing, all right, what is the lie? I'm going to take a few seconds before I bring Brother Ron in. What is the lie? This one, now you're going to have to listen to all of this now. The lie is God is love. That's the lie. What? What are you talking about? Doesn't the scripture say God is love? Yes. But you have to understand what is God's love. God's love is that He has told you how He wants you to live and how you should live for Him. And He has told you the only way that He will accept you is through His Son, Jesus Christ. But the lie of the devil is God is love and He will not send anyone to hell, and that all roads lead to God, all roads lead to the top of the mountain. So, now if that were true, why would Satan want to purport such a lie? If that were the truth, well, Satan himself is condemned to the lake of fire for eternity. Why would he want to make sure that you know how to be saved? Well, because it's not the truth. The truth is, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. And so the strong delusion that we are seeing is that God is love, and God loves everyone, therefore He would not send anyone to hell. Now, there is some truth in that as well, because God does not send anyone to hell. God allows you to choose whether or not you are going to go with Him for eternity, or whether you are going to go where He is not. If you choose Jesus Christ, then you're choosing to go with God. If you reject Jesus Christ, then you are saying that I don't want to live where God is for eternity. He's going to allow you to go where Satan is, which will be the lake of fire, and it will be an eternity of torment. Another lie that Satan purports is a loving God would not allow anyone to be tormented for eternity. Well, then that makes God a liar, because He says He will. He says anyone who rejects Him will be in the place of torment for eternity. So that is the strong delusion that is being given right now, is that only part of the scripture, which is God is love, and then we leave it there. Yeah, God is love, so we leave it there. But you have to finish that. And yes, God is love, and since He is a loving God, He recognizes that He does not want to allow you to go to follow all of the deceit of Satan, which will lead you into an eternity of torment. That's the difference here. And that is the strong delusion that Satan has right now, that God is going to allow those who continue to reject him to accept. Ron Stoyle.
Yeah, you're right at the end there. You led into what I was thinking also. With God being a God of love, he's also a God of truth. And what have we been talking about all week about the false signs, the deception, what is going on in society? I mean, we talked about it really in depth yesterday about the difference between what the government is telling us on how we should live and be safe as compared to God's natural immunities and I don't want to say his vaccine, but his safety from the diseases in the world. I mean, we're hearing from doctors that are being suppressed. If you eat healthy, if you get these vitamins, they will help build an immunity to viruses and diseases. The government's telling you, we just need to give you a vaccine. Well, and yesterday I left off on verse 10. Verse 11 says they're going to send a strong delusion so that they may believe what is false. Well, what is false today? Vaccines. And I know we've talked about this before. What is the Greek word for administering drugs? It's pharmakia.
That's right.
And I actually read farther into this because pharmakia is specifically used in the sorcery field, taking drugs in sorcery, but it does come from the root word pharmakeo. It's right. The root word of it, which specifically means to administer drugs. So,
well, and we also have to realize the drug it's talking about, the sorcery aspect of pharmakia, would be the illegal drugs, heroin and all those other
mind-altering drugs.
Mind-altering drugs. And so that also plays into that same word. But when they begin to lie to us about different drugs that they are having, what's the word I'm trying to find? The all-fixing drug. I can't think of a good intellectual word to use for that. But the drug that cures all, the cure-all drug.
Yeah.
When they start talking about that should begin to start giving someone a red flag. Because is there such a thing? No. There's not a cure-all drug. Plus, we know there's a coronavirus. Okay, we are not disputing the fact. But the thing is there has been a coronavirus for years and years and years. The thing about and then you hear, well, the coronavirus is a new strain rather. Well, yes, it is, because that's what viruses do, is that they mutate. That's why you cannot, if you have an infection in your body and you take too many antibiotics, guess what? It will no longer kill that infection, because the infection says, we've got to keep on trying to beat the antibodies. And so then the infection itself grows an immunity to the antibodies because it continues to grow. It's a mutating strain. That's what viruses do. That's why they come out with a new flu all the time, because the new flu continues. You get the vaccine. It fights off the vaccine, and it mutates into a new strain. Well, that's what viruses do.
Well, and that's also key into what happens with any type of addiction, but since we're on the medical field, medical addictions. Why is it that people that take really any type of medication, whether it's aspirin, ibuprofen, all the way up to morphine and all the codeines and all that, why is it they always have to get higher and higher prescriptions?
Right.
Because the body builds up an immunity. That's why they tell you, if you're going to take like a painkiller, jump between aspirin and ibuprofen and things like that, go back and forth. Because if you take one for too long, your body builds up that immunity, and you have to take higher and higher doses over time. It goes with
which, of course, does what? For ibuprofen, let's say, you take too much of that, and it destroys your kidneys.
Right.
It's just
they all have their own side effects.
They all have their side effects that they do, and exactly that. So what's the cure, or what is the plan? The plan is God. The plan is, instead of trusting man, trust God. Trust him to heal you. Trust him to heal your body. Pray to God and allow him to heal your body. What the devil wants is you to trust the doctors implicitly. And most doctors, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say most, I don't know. In my mind and what I'm seeing, it seems to me like most doctors these days do not have your best at heart. They have their bankroll at heart.
A lot do. I've been hearing more and more those that are realizing what's going on, but they're having to find alternative outlets to get the word out.
Right, and that's why I was hesitant to say most, because
I'm
hearing many talk up, but unfortunately, really, even the many, we're talking about really a handful. We're talking about 8, 10, 12. I really believe that the medical profession, at least from the doctor standpoint, much of it, many kids are just going into it now because it's a big paycheck.
Right. No, I will fully agree with that. I think the ones that saw it are getting discouraged from what they've seen for so long that now they're starting to speak up, but they're not being put on the news.
Or they're being killed, because there was one doctor
in China.
There was the first doctor who's got this supposedly died of it. And it's like, well, okay. Hey, that's a great scenario, isn't it? Well, that's just proof, because he was closest to it.
And you know what the most interesting thing about that one was? Everything we're hearing in America, the elderly, the underlying condition. The first doctor to die from coronavirus was like 34 years old.
Right.
I mean, you look at that and you go, oh, they're saying it's all the old, those with underlying conditions. It's the first doctor to die from it was the first one to speak out, and he was in his early 30s.
Right.
What does that tell you?
And he was Chinese, which they'll kill you off if you just look at the government wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't smile at Xi Jinping or whatever, then he can just say, you know what, all right, put that one to death. That is the government that many of the millennials today think is so wonderful. In fact, amazingly enough to me, the Democratic Party, the media touts Xi Jinping as some kind of great, awesome leader, and he is a evil despot. I mean, he is. If you talk against the government, you're going to prison or worse.
Well, he went so far years ago, not too long ago, but a few years ago, he sent law enforcement into every person's house, and if they had a picture of Jesus on their wall, he forced them to take that down and put a picture of himself up so they could worship him instead of Jesus Christ. I mean, that's
the kind of man that we're wanting to tout. The problem is that we get all of this strong delusion that people are believing the lie. The media, and I don't care which one you're talking about, Fox News or whatever, I don't care. It is now controlled by all of the liberal aspects.
If they're on cable TV, then
pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you are. Well, I mean, One American News is still a news channel.
I will agree with you there.
They are still a news channel. These other ones are all commentary, whether they be Fox. I don't care who it is. Yeah, Fox has mostly conservative commentary, but if you listen, and there's a lot of the delusion that they're trying to push. I mean, trust me, Fox News will be pushing the vaccine just as much as anybody once it comes out.
Actually, they already are.
They already are,
yeah.
Okay. And since I don't listen to Fox News or anything anymore, so all of these will be still touting the talking points, if you will. I hear it still all the time of how they tout the talking points. So don't accuse me of listening only to Fox News or anything, because number one, I rarely listen to any news outlets because most of it is giving the strong delusion. They are pushing the lie. And the lie is the lie of globalism, who is the Antichrist. That's what's going on here. World, church, whoever's listening to this, what's going on is the Antichrist agenda is coming to the forefront and more and more being accepted. That's what's happening. And so that is why it will get stronger, and it will get stronger, and it will get stronger. Now, along with what we've already talked about, the great falling away that we talked about at the beginning of the week, along with the great falling away will also be a great awakening.
Yes.
And I personally believe what is happening right now, by people being pushed inside their house to have church, and inside small groups to have church. God is exactly what we even started talking, Brother Ron started talking about right at the beginning of the week, was the fact that now he is taking his church back to where it started in the first place, which is the true church, which is forgetting about the entertainment aspect, forgetting about the spotlight on the pastor, forgetting about all of these other things that have come up, and instead placing it back on Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's what's going on right now.
And since we're almost out of time, I did want to hit 12 real quick, where it says, in order that all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now, to me, that takes a spiritual and a physical aspect to it.
Absolutely.
Because when it says condemned, well, okay, we look in the physical side of that. If we're relying only on the world to heal our problems, the vaccines, the doctors, which I'm not saying doctors are bad, but the pharmaceutical side, you're condemning your physical body to death. Because like you said, what's going on with the ventilators, the vaccines, how they're really population control. Because they didn't believe the truth in what we talked about, eating right, trusting in God, building up your immunity ahead of time. That is the pleasure in unrighteousness. Righteousness is just right standing with God. Are you doing what he said, how you're physically and spiritually supposed to live? Well, if you're not doing that, you're living in unrighteousness. It's not, I mean, it's really kind of a broad term.
It's very broad, and get it out. So let's get it out of the virus part of it, because who did not believe the truth. The truth is abortion is murder. The truth is abortion is not control over your own body, ladies. This is another living human being that is within you, that God has entrusted you to nurture for full term. And instead, you've exchanged that truth. You're believing the lie, saying, well, this is just a little fetus and it's not anything. You're believing it for your own pleasure, because of your own selfishness, that, well, I don't want this baby right now. It doesn't fit into my plans. The same with homosexuality or transgenderism. You've exchanged the truth for a lie. The truth is God has made us a man and a woman, and it says in the book of Genesis, he made man and woman. And then he says that, and then he made them to where they would cleave together and become one. And then he says that a man who lies with a man or a woman who lies with a woman is an abomination. So he's lined all of this out. That's the truth. But the lie is, for their own pleasure, you can do whatever you want because God is love. Remember, we talked about this earlier in the week. God is love, so you can do whatever you want, because surely God would not condemn you for loving someone.
And the word love apparently these days is fluid to mean whatever you define it as.
It is exactly right. Love is very...
It's different for you. It's different for me. It's different for the person.
That word means absolutely nothing. Well,
or it means anything.
Or anything. Or if you can think about it, well, I love my car. I love my house.
Well, think about it these days. I love... okay, I'm going to get a little weird here. I love my dog. I love young children.
Well, all of that.
Here
stuff.
we go.
All of that stuff.
So because
it's all love, exactly.
Anything goes.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's all the time that we have. In fact, we're over the time that we have. So thank you so much for joining with our program. Please go to hisgospelpower.org. Until next time, I pray you receive His gospel power today.
He died for you. He died for me. From our sin, He set us free. He loved us so, His life He gave. So if we ask, we can be saved. He's calling you, He's calling you. Jesus Christ all your sin be washed away. Don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. Just come and praise His holy name. He's calling you, He's calling you. Jesus Christ is calling you. If He's touched your heart and soul, then come let Jesus make